Welcome everyone to Renewal of Resistance. My name is Callie Pruett. My pronouns are she and her. And I am just so thrilled to be here with you tonight and to be in the company of so many truly amazing artists and artivists and people that I admire, and just I'm so excited to be able to share in this experience with you. I want to tell you a little bit about why I am here and why I care about this. I grew up in the mill town of Canton, North Carolina, and I think that you will all hear a little bit from other speakers about the intersection of making sure that you're providing for your family and the environment. And growing up in a mill town, that was very present for me. And my dad, who was a professional musician, Grammy award-winning musician, his day job, because you can't pay all the bills on bluegrass music. Let's just be honest. His day job was an erosion control officer for Haywood County, North Carolina. And if you know about Western North Carolina, there are homes that are literally falling off of mountains because of erosion problems and because of improper construction. And so my dad's great love is trout fish. And he began to write slope ordinances to protect our native trout and our native waterways. So I very much understand the intersection of art and activism. And I think that it's so important that as we walk into this evening together of renewal, that we consider what we have been through in the last year in fighting the Mountain Valley Pipeline, and what we still have to fight for. There's still work to be done, but this is a time to sit back, take that deep breath. That the calming music that we just heard kind of centered me and made me very happy to be here. But before we dive into that, we wanted to make mention of the murders of Tortuguita and Tyree Nichols. These were both murders at the hands of police officers. And they were murders of people of color. I think that most of us who watch the news are very familiar with the Tyree Nichols case at this point, but many do not know that Tortuguita, who used they, them pronouns, was shot and killed by a Georgia State Patrol officer on the morning of January 18th while defending the South River Forest in Atlanta, Georgia. This is something that we must reckon with as a community. Police brutality is in all of our communities, and it is because of white supremacy, and we need to name it and call it out. And environmental injustice and white supremacy are deeply intertwined. We know this because of there are lots of communities that have suffered far more than wealthy white communities because they did not have the means or the power at that time, or they weren't believed to have the power at that time to fight back. And we are here to recognize the lives of these folks and to say that we are part of a community that demands better, and that doesn't just mean policy changes. That means heart changes, and that means life changes, and it means systemic changes at great cost to our communities, and we need to make sure that that is prioritized. So, with that in mind, let's walk into this evening with full hearts, knowing that our community has done something incredibly special. And I would really love to go ahead and start this evening with one of my favorite Appalachians. Crystal Good is a sixth-generation West Virginian, a writer and a poet, a performer, and a founder and publisher of Black by God, the West Virginian. She's a news and storyteller, and the West Virginian centers Black voices in Central Appalachia. Crystal is an Irene McKinney Scholar, a West Virginia University News Start and Lion Publication, Tiny News Fellow, Black Appalachian Storytellers Fellow, and author of Valley Girl and Markin Territory. Most recently, Crystal served as a consulting producer for CNN's United Shades of Gray, and this one was Black in Appalachia with Kamau Bell. She was a story consultant and talent for the imaginative documentary that has just come out, King Cole, which premiered at Sundance. And she has just had her hands in so much. Crystal is the social media senator for the Digital District of West Virginia, advocating for digital and political literacy. Crystal, you are going to be performing for us this evening, and I'm so glad that we get to kick this evening off with you. So without further ado, Crystal Good.
Hi, everybody. I am so thankful that I get to be with you all because this is important. And one of the things that we always hear in Appalachia, and we're in the middle of our legislative session in West Virginia, is like, what difference does it make? Why do we need to have a rally? Why do we need to show up? Nothing's going to change. But here, folks, I've been doing this a long time. These moments are for us, right? I think some folks need to mute, but these moments are for us to energize, right? So it's not about the action or the outcome or, you know, whatever we're doing in the moment. It is that we are together and we're looking at each other and we're downloading information, we're sharing information, and we're encouraging each other. And let me tell you what, Lord, I need y'all, right? Like, this is like no joke. I've had the hellest of the hellest day, and I got to go do it again tomorrow. So I'm excited to read some poems with you, and I want to encourage everybody on here to step up their meme game. Y'all, there was a time when we were out here doing memes and we were getting pleasure and laughs. We got to get back on our meme game, because there's one thing I love about being Appalachian is our self-deprecating humor, right? And we need to be laughing a whole lot more. So I hope you guys will laugh with me as I kind of share these little poem ditty stories, okay? This is from a little book that I self-published. It's called Marking My Territory, Politicians I Met and Where I Peed, okay? So let's get started. I want to tell you a little story about when I met President Barack Obama the first time in Charleston, West Virginia. He was Senator Obama, and the Democrats were abuzz about him being the speaker for the Jefferson-Jackson dinner. This was before the war on coal. I snuck into the Jefferson-Jackson dinner with the television news crew. I went right up into the press conference, and they said that I didn't have credentials, and I held up my phone and I said, I'm a blogger. And they said, okay. So I went into the small room with the real reporters and the West Virginia Democratic delegation, including Senator Robert C. Byrd. And listen, I thought Senator Byrd was going to die right there. Senator Byrd got so excited talking about Barack Obama that he started shaking and almost fell off his cane. I knew that I had witnessed a moment in America's history as I remembered Senator Byrd's history with the KKK. I was amazed that I was there, and I bore witness when Senator Byrd put his hand on Barack Obama and said, "This is the future of America." I peed in the porta potty outside the Civic Center. I got locked out and had to walk all the way around the Civic Center to the front door. Since I didn't have an official ticket, when I said, "I'm a blogger," and held up my phone, the lady asking for my ticket in a Southern West Virginia lilt said, "You're a what, honey? Do you have a ticket?" I met Senator Elizabeth Warren in Washington, D.C. in her Senate office. I was lobbying against mountaintop removal. I peed in the men's bathroom. It was closer. All right. I don't know how much time I have, so I'll read this little ditty here, and I might be at my moment. So this is a little ditty about when I met Senator Joe Manchin. I met Senator Joe Manchin at the old Tech Park in South Charleston, West Virginia. This was shortly after he was elected senator, filling Byrd's seat. He was driving a black SUV truck, and he saw me walking into one of the buildings for the NAACP community meeting. He rolled down his window and asked me where to park. I thought this was a little bit funny because the parking lot was empty. So I pointed over there and hoped that Joe could figure out where to park. He shared that he wasn't used to driving himself as a senator. And when he addressed the NAACP in the meeting, a mother shared the story of her son being shot by the police. Joe said, "That's unfortunate." And then he said, "Clean coal, clean coal." And we West Virginians have scientists in other countries that are working on clean coal. And he kept making a hand gesture like he was turning a doorknob. And he kept saying, "Clean coal, clean coal." And I wasn't sure if it was a magic trick. I didn't understand why nobody was questioning this. I left the meeting room to pee. The bathroom was industrial, and it looked like it belonged in the movie Silkwood. There was an emergency chemical shower and bomb shelter signage. I decided to leave the meeting, and when I left the building, I noticed that Joe had parked his SUV crooked. Thank you all.
Thank you,
I have
Crystal.
plenty more. You're welcome to check it out on the website. You can listen to a live recording to me, and if you feel so inspired, you can download the book for, I think, $5. And this is sort of an ongoing thing. I can tell you about all the politicians I met and where I peed. Hope to see you all face to face one day. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Crystal, so much. And thank you for the work that you are doing in the West Virginia legislature during this session right now. You didn't get to talk about it, but it is powerful, and we are so grateful. Well, we've got a long list of folks that are coming after that, and I don't know how you could follow it, but this is the best duo to do it. I am so excited to introduce you to Sebrena and to Fiona, and they are going to be performing for us tonight. Sebrena Williamson is an Appalachian choreographer, a storyteller, creative strategist, and multidisciplinary writer from Huntington, West Virginia. In 2018, she co-founded Saltaire, an Elementus dance collective, where she now serves as choreographer and director of research. As a narrative artist who believes in the power of language, movement, research, collaboration, and storytelling, Sebrena's goal is to create narrative works that serve communities and initiate change. Ooh, I love that. More than anything, she believes that the narrative form, whether that's dance or literature or speech or film, is the strongest vehicle for empathy and change. Fiona O'Brien, co-founder and music director of Saltaire and Elementus Dance Collective, is a music and dance artist based in Washington, D.C., my former stomping grounds. Her work is deeply embedded in ecofeminism and social justice topics, which she explores through her compositions and choreographic works. She continues to bridge the gap between dancers and musicians, cultivating authentically collaborative spaces for artists of all backgrounds. Please welcome Saltaire.
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be joined by everyone here. Like Callie was saying earlier, a lot of everyone present. I really admire everyone present. So this is really just a joy to be here. So a little bit about this piece. We created it to acknowledge the emotional landscape of what it is to fight for the climate and the land. Fiona and I are very, very dear friends, so we are comfortable being vulnerable with each other. And in many ways, this piece is an extension of that relationship. So in some ways, it's the kind of experience of us as young women experiencing the climate crisis and how we're able to translate that together from our vulnerability. The song and dance were written with the intention to subvert the lyrical structure of an Appalachian murder ballad. The sweetness we both feel for the land has transformed into a type of sour resistance, which the lyrics and the movement reflect. More than anything, we wanted to create something simple and universal that could be felt throughout the region. And I think we're good to play the video.
which side are you on?
Thank you so much, Saltaire. That was so powerful. That was so powerful. Thank you. Now we are going to go to someone I was listening to earlier today. I was getting in the mood for this, and I'm excited to introduce all of you, if you have not heard her before, to Bernadette B.J. Lark. She has 35 plus years of experience as an artist and a vocalist and a composer. She's the founder and artistic director of Community Arts Reach. She obtained her MBA, BBA, and Master's Studies in Education, and she currently serves as the program organizer at Roanoke Democracy Center and youth educator at Jefferson Center Music Lab. She shares and works with ARTivists Virginia and is proactive in her community activism and advocates for those who are often silenced. In the recent past, she served as Virginia theomusicologist for Poor People's Campaign, and Lark worked with Roanoke City Public Schools from 2005 to 2014 as an educator. Please welcome our singer of the evening, Bernadette B.J. Lark.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yes, so true story. I had a student emergency. I'm sitting on a 15-passenger van, and if you can see, it's empty now because I dropped all my students off, and the lighting is the best lighting I could find. But I was just so honored to be here this evening, and I want to share with you all, I'm inspired by all the work that is going on. Nothing is more important than being in this together and making a commitment to make sure we are uplifting those that are continuing to hold that light up. So I just want to share a song with you to keep your eyes on the prize. I had something prepped with my piano in the background and my little talking drum, but I am ready to share with you all, and I hope you enjoy. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. We've had our hands on the plow. We won't take nothing for our journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Keep your mind on good works and hold on. Keep your mind stayed on good works. Hold on. You've had your hands on the plow. You won't take nothing for your journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize. You hold on. Keep your mind made up, 'cause we will win. Keep your mind, keep it made up, 'cause we will win. For too long, we pressed our way. We won't give up. We will see a brand new day. Keep your eyes on the prize. You hold on. So keep your eyes stayed on the prize and hold on. No matter what, you keep your eyes, keep it on the prize. You hold on. You've had your hand on the plow. We won't take nothing for this journey now. We've had our mind made up. I know no turning back. We've had our eyes on the prize. We won't lose faith because we're in it to win. Keep your eyes on the prize. Don't you give up. Don't you give in. No matter what comes, no matter what goes. We're in this together. Keep your eyes on the prize. I want you to hold on. Blessings. I love you all.
Wow, I do not know about y'all, but I have never heard someone sound better on an iPhone. I have really not.
And believe
Thank
it or
you.
not, it's an Android.
Oh, all right. Even better. Never heard anybody sound so good through a phone. BJ, thank you so much for giving that gift to us. I feel so much what you were talking about, because we are all in this together and we've all been through so much, and the fight is still ahead of us. And that song, it just really speaks to where we are in this moment, and where we are, what this whole event is about. So thank you so much.
Thank you all. And just to encourage you all, as you can see, we can't plan our day, but what we can do is commit to show up when we can, how we can, where we can, because we can. We cannot turn back. I love you all. Honored to serve. Bless you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Up next, we have another one of my absolute favorites. Just a gem of the mountains, truly a treasure amongst us. Nima Avashia is the daughter of Indian immigrants and was born and raised in Southern West Virginia. She's been an educator and activist in the Boston Public Schools since 2003 and was named a City of Boston Educator of the Year in 2013. Her first book, Another Appalachia, Coming Up Queer and Indian in a Mountain Place, was published by West Virginia University Press last March. It has been called a timely collection that begins to fill the gap in literature focused mainly on the white male experience, by Mrs. Magazine, and a grateful exploration of identity, community, and contradictions by Scalawag. She lives in Boston with her partner, Laura, and her daughter, Kahani. Nima, I'm so glad to have you here, my friend, and take it away.
Thanks, Callie, and thank you all for having me here tonight. I am so honored to be here with you. I live away now, and it is hard to be away when these fights are happening, because my heart's there with you all the time. But I feel like what's so special about this evening is like the opportunity to take a minute to share in some joy with one another and to sort of like have an opportunity to hold each other with some care, in the context of struggles that are ongoing. And this is a really important part. You can't keep going if you don't have opportunities for joy and for care along the way. And so I'm really grateful to be able to be here with you and offer some care and extend some joy to you. I'm going to read my favorite essay from my collection. It's called Be Like Wilt. And in a lot of ways, it's about what it means to care for a young person, especially a young person who's not like you. So I'm going to read it to you, and hopefully it'll give you a little bit of warmth this evening. Be like Wilt. I stand on the foul line at the Cross Lanes Methodist Church gym. I'm 9, the only girl playing on an all-boys basketball team, the only brown kid on a team of white boys. My puny arms, thick glasses, and long oiled braids set me even further apart from their wiry, muscular bodies and cropped blonde haircuts. Why has Carl Bradford chosen me for his team? I wonder about this. His sons are 2 of the quickest, highest-scoring players in our local league. In 1988, in Cross Lanes, West Virginia, there is no designated league for girls. And when I try out one Saturday in October, there are only 2 other girls in the gym with close to 80 boys. Tryouts in this pre-hyper-competitive era involve dribbling up and down the court and shooting 2 layups and a couple of foul shots. Every kid is guaranteed a space on a team. The question is simply which coach will choose to take them on. Each girl is selected for a different team. Some teams have no girls. Mr. Bradford doesn't have to pick me, but he does so anyway. And in doing so, he also takes on the responsibility of chauffeuring me to and from practices and games. Basketball is not a sport my immigrant parents understand, and the parental time commitment it requires is not something their lives leave space for. By opting to play, I take a step further away from my nuclear family and closer to my West Virginia community. Still, my Indian genetics make me short, weak, and terribly uncoordinated. When I shoot the ball overhand, it falls short of the basket by several feet. When I play defense, my teammates say I look like a praying mantis. My hands weaving in front of me instead of out to the sides. That's Crystal's self-deprecating humor right there. I love the game, but I'm about as far from a natural talent as my parents' hometown in India is from this gym at the end of Frontier Drive. One evening, Mr. Bradford proposes that I shoot the ball a different way. Not overhand, as I've been trying to, but underhand. Granny style, my teammates disparagingly call it. Some of the greatest basketball players of all time shot underhand, Nima, Mr. Bradford says. Wilt Chamberlain shot underhand. His blue eyes, magnified by round wire rim glasses, probe mine. In my adult life, I have listened to entire podcasts about the accuracy of the granny shot, about how Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in the one game where he shot free throws underhand, and Rick Barry's career free throw percentage was a chart-topping 89.3 because he opted to do the same. But at age 9, I feel like this is yet another way in which I'm being set apart from my peers. Raised by fathers who were players of the game, taught to play at driveway hoops as soon as they could walk, they can shoot overhand. I cannot. How do you assimilate into the dominant culture when your own culture is so invisible to the majority? My small group of Indian peers and I answer this question in different ways. The only Indian boy at my elementary school, who all the white kids think is either my brother or insist I should date, speaks with an exaggerated twang, drinks heavily through high school, and loudly votes Republican later in life. Some of the Indian kids who live in the city of Charleston emulate their wealthy white classmates, picking up tennis or golf as entry points into American culture. As for me, I choose basketball. I play the sport constantly, watch it obsessively on the TV in our basement, and rock my satin turquoise and purple Charlotte Hornets jacket daily. And not simply because I love the game. I do, but basketball is more than just a sport to me. It's my way into a world where I otherwise don't seem to belong. I blush hard at the suggestion to shoot underhand, dribble a basketball against the white linoleum flooring of the gym, and stare at the black curve of the key instead of making eye contact with Mr. Bradford. I know he's right, but I'm not sure I can find the courage to shoot granny style in a game where all of my teammates and classmates from school will be watching. Much later in his career, Chamberlain explained why he only shot underhand for one season and reverted to the less accurate overhand free throw afterwards. I felt silly, like a sissy shooting underhanded, he said. I know I was wrong. I know some of the best foul shooters in history shot that way. I just couldn't do it. Even though I haven't heard this explanation in 1988, I struggle with the same sentiment. Eventually, however, my desire to make a basket overwhelms my fear of judgment. Game day comes, the point guard gets the ball into my hands, and I position the ball between my legs before hurling it upwards. Swish. It isn't a buzzer beater. It's not the game-winning shot. It is just 2 points scored midway through the third quarter in a regular season game. But the entire gym erupts in cheers, the crowd chanting my name. Someone even calls my mom from the payphone in the corner. I grow so dizzy with this temporary but overwhelming sense of belonging that I fail to register the final score. After the game, Mr. Bradford gives me his slow, sweet smile. See, Nima, it doesn't matter how you shoot the ball. It just matters that the ball goes in. Mr. Bradford drafts me for his team each of the next 3 years. At the end of my last season, he persuades all the coaches to jointly award me the league's Heart and Hustle Trophy, given not to the most talented player, but to the most dedicated team member. It remains to this day the award I cherish most. When I age out of his league, he recruits me as an assistant coach for his younger son's team. His red Jeep Cherokee is a fixture outside our house for at least 3 days a week as he continues to drive me to and from practices and games. Each evening after practice, we drive over Goff Mountain. The headlights of the Jeep cast the only light on the dark and winding road that takes us past a pungent chemical landfill and through a dense stand of trees. Close your eyes now, he commands as we approach the summit of the mountain. In the back seat, the boys and I giggle and grin, close our eyes, take a deep breath. Mr. Bradford hits the gas and we soar over the first hill, our stomachs dropping roller coaster style. The Jeep bounces hard onto the concrete, then takes flight again as we hit the second decline. For this brief moment, we are Bo, Luke, and Daisy in the General Lee. Our screams of delight replace the sounds of Dixie in this reimagined Dukes of Hazzard, and I am wildly, freely American in a way I can never recapture outside of Mr. Bradford's presence. Thanks, y'all.
Wow. I that gets me, Neem. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Next, we are going to hear from another poet, Mara Eve Robbins. Mara is an Appalachian author and an artivist who lives in Floyd, Virginia. Her book, Seeing Red, is a glimpse inside the resistance to the Mountain Valley Pipeline. She protects water, loves trees, and she cares for those who defend them. Please welcome Mara Robbins.
Hi, everybody. This is really exciting. What a wonderful, wonderful thing to be here with so many trusted, loved, and familiar faces, and also to meet this whole new community across Appalachia. I have deeply felt my Appalachian roots this week. My grandparents lived in Canton, North Carolina. We didn't explore that last night, but I feel like I have a virtual kindred spirit here helping run the show. Thank you. And I'm always excited about sharing new work, but because this is a renewal and a revival, I really wanted to go back to a point in time in which the poem I'm about to share was created. And it was during the Yellowfinch Tree Sit in Elliston, Virginia. And I traveled to Leesburg, Virginia, to attend a rally and petition our Attorney General, Mark Herring. And my dear friend Crystal Mello was supposed to be a speaker that day, but instead she was living in a tree. And so her 12-year-old son, Braylon, came there and said, my mom was going to be here, but she's in a tree right now. And on that day, I dedicated this poem to Crystal, who's always had my back, and to everybody who's had my back for the last 5 years, except now I can say this is for Crystal, who, my goodness, in terms of showing up, I appreciate so much what BJ said, because sometimes we show up in whatever way we can, and she's proven that over and over, and she's always had my back. And this goes out to her and to everyone who's had my back for nearly 9 years. That's nearly 9 years. And we're not backing down. We're not giving up. They forced us to fight back. They haven't wrestled with Appalachia like this in a long time, if ever. So this is a poem that is revised from 4 years ago, and so it will be familiar to some of you. It is called Expiration Date. I was broke. You sent a leftover gift card to Target saying, send it soon. It's a new moon. So exhale. Lose the lack and seek the stars, darling. I've got your back, and the universe is closer than so far away. What if we call those stars ours and hold them close as truth? What if we are ruthless about our rivers, collaborate with our mountains, stand with those who stand? The sum of the conundrum has an answer that we ask each time we take a drink of water. What if the task is to pull those stars closer? What if the most important thing we can do is to see each other through, look beyond the me, the you, the us, and them, treating each other and our planet as beloved community, reaching through isolation into unity. We've got bones and stones and the roof of the root under our feet, and you never know who you'll meet when you're open, when your heart starts to grow along with each blade of grass you pass, and the streams become your dreams of how we'll flow. You'll know then, I swear, when the very air becomes a prayer that seeps into your being, then you'll be seeing how our subdivided lives go by in vehicular constriction, ash splashed upon the kindness we will still fold golden into this dirt that holds us, this ocean that molds us, salt and skin, and that effortless best we provide when we do not hide what we come to from within. And this is how we win, when we cease to see ourselves as competition, instead a sweet rendition of mending the feeding muscle, not the hustle of more at the core of everything we do, but the reconciliation of what feeds us coming through. These stars, this sun that rising every morning could be a comfort, not a warning of the warming. There is no turning back. But if we don't learn the lack of ground we stand on, we'll never land in the kind of sound that could surround us with belonging, and choosing not to use all the wrongs that we thought were the songs we were supposed to be singing. A new tune is ringing through. This is the sound of your blood in the sewers of the flooded cities, your breath in what's left of the ozone, your home in the scope of the rifle aimed at the hope you hold in your toes, ready to leave footprints upon everything that grows. If we can just break apart what holds our hearts away from each other. So before it expires, I brandished that plastic in the name of end-stage capitalism, colonizing the aisles of Target with my coffee-stained t-shirt and my tears. We don't have years anymore. We've got lists and fingers and a shore that's both sinking and rising. We've got tides and timing. We're climbing into trees to see them through, because we do what we can do. We must do whatever we can do, and lose what we are supposed to do or required to do, have to do as if it is behind us. Remind that closest star in trust that this planet is us. Make a date with your extinction, so that when Mars rises on the horizon, when Venus springs into light, when mighty Jupiter climbs the walls of sky, we can remind them why we have no more time for anything but the way in which we shine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mara, for that word. That was so powerful. I appreciate your energy so much. It is invigorating and renewing. And I just so appreciate that. I also want to tell folks that if you can't see it on your screen, there are over 100 of us here tonight. Over 100 of us here to listen and to recover and to renew and to resist and to continue this good work as we move forward into this year. Over 100 people are here tonight, and that's just computers. Who knows how many people are behind those screens? And so I just want to thank you all for being here, and thank you all for supporting these artists and supporting this movement. We're now going to move to our friend Laura Saunders. Laura is a photographer, filmmaker, and audio journalist living in occupied Tutlo lands, currently known as Floyd County, Virginia. Her work is rooted in the legacy of Appalachian storytelling, where she spent the last 8 years documenting grassroots pipeline resistance and environmental extraction in the region where she grew up. She's also made work in Southern Arizona focused on histories of forced migration, for-profit prisons, and the growing industry of U.S. border militarization. She is a member of the Juntos Photo Cooperative, Women Photograph, and IWMF Fellow. Her work has been exhibited in the UK and the US with organizations including the Bronx Documentary Center and Looking at Appalachia. Her work has been published with the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, The Intercept, Patagonia, The Guardian, High Country News, ProPublica, and Politico, among many, many others. We are so honored to have her in our presence tonight. Please welcome Laura Saunders.
Hey, y'all. I am just overjoyed to be here tonight. This has been already such a moving and inspiring time. So thank you for having me in this company. It's been wonderful to see so many familiar names popping up in the chat. I'm going to share tonight some excerpts from a podcast that I recently completed with In This Climate, and a number of frontline organizers and my brilliant editor, Whitney Whiting. And I've gone through my archives, which has also just been a total joy. So don't be surprised if you might see yourself on the screen here. It's been just a complete, beautiful way to spend my time, to be able to look through all of the incredible things that have been accomplished over the years, and just the absolute grit of the folks that are doing this work and keeping their hearts and their bodies in this moment. So I am going to also talk a little bit right now about my motivation, which is I do this work as a way to affirm people in the moment, as a way to help people see themselves reflected back. I'm really glad that we called in the names of Tyre Nichols and Tortuguita at the beginning. Dominant narratives don't often give us the chance to see alternatives of the joy and beauty and love at the heart of this work. And so I've seen this work as a way to share what the place that's raised me and the people that matter. And it's just been an honor every step of the way. So I'm gonna let the video from here take the reins, and we can play through. Thank you.
By listing potential defendants as Jane or John Doe, it meant that any and everyone who wanted to support the camp by being on site were now at risk for arrest.
I imagined that they were going to then try to expand that and add additional Janes and John Does and unnamed person number 27 until they felt like they had enough coverage there to roll up a whole lot of people in a very awful legal process.
An escalating presence from MVP and police led to a number of violent arrests when camp was raided in the summer of 2019. The visits were often unpredictable. MVP security personnel knew cars, names, faces, and filmed anyone coming and going. And as Russell noted, the injunction used such broad language that Jane and John Doe could be anyone, placing a target on every level of support. It felt a lot like a way to try and subdue the very core of what rural life teaches us about how to care for each other. Growing up in this area, you learn early on that your neighbors, the mountains, the seasons, and the isolation of this place are things you must respect in a deep way. Take the pipeline away, and all the gestures of care found at camp would still be happening. It's just how it's done.
I figured they were targeting specific people. I figured they had specific people in mind that they were trying to get to shut up. Yeah.
Do you think it worked?
No, it didn't work. I think in certain folks' minds, I think it became a little scarier, but I don't think it stopped anybody from, I think they just had to address the fear factor a little bit differently.
when the folks locked down in West Virginia and caught those terrorist charges, well, that's what made me want to kind of climb a tree, because I'm like, well, I guess we'll all be terrorists then, because this is ridiculous.
There was undoubtedly something sinister in this process, in the stripping away of the mountains and the dogged pursuit of the people who call them home. But you could just as easily call it remarkable, too. Remarkable because it was in reply to the invisible quilt, the magic of this place, powerful enough to shape the decisions of people sat around conference tables thousands of miles away who had never even set foot in this holler. For a better part of the 2 years that camp existed, a hand-painted banner reading "We Won't Back Down" hung between the trees on Yellowfinch Lane leading up to the sits. By the time it did come down, hundreds of people had passed beneath it, on their way to bring food, to haul out trash, to attend birthday parties, to clean up the creek, to sing, to witness, to climb up a tree. All this as MVP bore down, looking for identities of the sitters, of the people who dared to help them. They wanted someone to point at, a person to hold up and then take down, a hero they could defeat. The people's history of Appalachia is medicine to this kind of thinking. It is rife with stories of people who knew that their differences would never be more important than their need to care for one another, particularly when smooth-talking folks came through, wanting a piece of the mountains, or the rivers, or the years that a young body has to offer through its labor. And I suppose it's fitting that these stories probably won't find you until you find someone who has a personal relationship to them. But that's exactly the point. And these relationships are everywhere.
I really tried to write the podcast as a love letter, and all those clips make me feel the same, just absolute adoration. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you so much, Laura. I loved the last bit of the podcast where you were talking about relationships and how I think that is so much of what moves people is knowing somebody who has an identity or knowing someone who is impacted. And that's certainly something that I have seen in action. My family land is just a drive away from a water crossing of the MVP in West Virginia. And seeing that with your own eyes and the helicopters overhead bringing giant pipes to cross over a river that you played in as a child is something that is incredibly powerful and moving in the direction of resistance when it comes to that. And I think those really direct connections are so important. Up next, we have poet Steven T. Licardi. He is an autistic social worker, spoken word poet, science fiction writer, artist, and performance activist working at the intersections of art and social policy. He travels internationally using the power of storytelling to create empathetic dialogue around, to confront the realities of, and to assist communities in dismantling historic narratives around mental health and madness. His work can be found at thesvenbo.com/books, and we will drop the other links, the Substack link, in the chat. Welcome, Steven.
Thank you all so much for having me here. It is a gift to follow Laura and her profound work. It's a gift to be a witness to all the work that's here. And of all the places you could be, you've chosen to be here, and that really means the world to me. And I think that this is just powerfully necessary as we think about the worlds we're trying to build, the futures that we're trying to embrace, ones in which we are here, the creatures we share this planet with are here, and the environments that we move through are here. So I appreciate all of my loved ones that are here. I also want to just shout out to some elders, Alan Moore, who was actually featured in Laura's film. They are environmental defender. And I'm just bringing in the energy of our elders here as I share with you some poems, or rather a poem. So I'm here on Monacan and Tutelo land in the Blue Ridge Mountains of southwestern Virginia. I'm an Appalachian transplant from New York. That's where I grew up. And I've just been completely enamored by these hills and hollers. And I've really fallen in love with the people and the places here. And so this poem that I'm going to read for you is sort of an amalgam of finding myself amidst all that while the virus ravages our species. So this is called Hooverville. My father taught me how to survive on a Depression-era diet. His father used to buy the fat trimmings from the local butcher, render them down, mix it with flour, then serve the roux to his 4 children over white bread. My father mourned the discontinuation of Unita biscuits. He's had to settle for saltines and milk, while Braunschweiger liverwurst sandwiches he hardly ever finishes still comfort him between bong hits and debilitating chest pain. His doctors believe these dietary choices probably nearly killed him. Now his son survives in quarantine, while the man's heart disease rests heavy on his conscience. I stock up on dried beans, cheese, and sugar, count the blessings I can see from our windowsill. I watch the cardinals gather in the yard, wishing I could slip my prayers in their beaks, but they flee at the first sign of movement, while deer mosey through the vines, their eyes keen and searching, long content with being prey. 534 miles away, I refresh my web browser and watch the death toll rise around the address still listed in my phone as home, like Ring Around the Rosie. Tomato seeds sit idling in the kitchen, awaiting my father's instructions, biding their time to settle into their grave cradles in the garden I tilled just yesterday. I listen to the scratches in the walls and wonder about their origin, knowing they don't care, like the deer or the cardinals. I eat ramen noodles plain at 10:35 p.m. Think about India and the size of a family who might survive on my portion. My stomach has become a clock. How many meals have I had in the last hour? What separates a meal from a snack now? Rations, not yet military grade. It's nearly Easter and everyone is fasting. Normalcy rebranded as longing. How easily our sense of time falls away. Notifications canceled as we are each reminded in our own way of what matters. If the shelves are all empty, eat your calendars, eat your planners, eat your Post-it notes, eat the reminders, the alarms, the names of all the dates you thought were yours. I count my dates, those wrinkled confections I consume insatiably, count bundles of pasta, soba, stock up on onions, carrots, bouillon, bake bannock, honor the ancestors who are not mine. I harvest magnolia petals from the tree outside for tea, pickle them to hold onto something fancy. I gather up wild garlic in fistfuls, wash off the dirt, then compost half of them. We have always been foraging for dwindling connections in the dark of modernity, putting off and putting up with. Forget again to take your meds, to take a walk, to take a trip, anywhere, to take, until there is nothing left. There was nothing here in the first place. Waterfalls keep falling whether or not all of us survives. Nature knows no names, faintly remembers or even tries to recognize species swallowed by mountains, swallowed by oceans, swallowed by deserts, swallowed by. A part of me believes that this is the planet's doing, a neatly packaged plague, a gift, a winnowing meant to give itself space to be the sick joke it has always been, can finally laugh at itself again, console its own notions of forgetting, hands wrung clean with sanitizing viruses, give itself time to breathe between belly laughs. I call my father now, maybe 2 times a week. We chat. My mind whispers, all right, until the statistics scare me back to dialing again. I think if I can hardly remember to call the man in a global pandemic, then I count jars of sauce instead, turn his masons of jelly in my hands like gems held up to the light. I send him pictures of the dinners I have made. Sometimes he replies. I imagine him smiling at the screen, knowing this is the only way I know how to love him. In bouts of silence smeared between anxiety and unknowing, I hope the cardinals do not deliver my prayers. I hope normalcy never returns. I will settle for social distancing if it means it might bring us even slightly closer together. I will forage for food in the wild of the great uncertainty beyond my back door, count my coffee beans, popcorn kernels, savor every swatch of peanut butter stolen in the middle of the night, bake cookies to soothe my angst if it means never having to return again to the silence of counting, counting, counting. We were counting on tomorrow, on an hour from now, on yesterday, always counting silently the days I have left to ask my father all the questions he never got the chance to ask his father before he forgot. I don't want to wait for forgetting. We have already remembered too much, remembered all of what we thought we had forgotten. Thank you for your precious time tonight. I am so gifted to be alive in this world with you, and the power that you bring and the love that you bring to the lives that your lives touch. So thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Steven. That was so lovely. And it also reminds me that we are still in a pandemic and there are still people dying. And we should remember that as we move through our lives and be respectful of those around us who have comorbidities and who are immunocompromised. Up next, we have Alicia Aldaz. She is an enrolled member of the Indian Nation of Amherst County. It's getting late, y'all, my bad. Virginia. She has been a devoted seamstress and beadwork artist since the age of 13, as well as an accomplished competitive contemporary jingle dress dancer. She has traveled the U.S. steadily for over 20 years, learning and expanding her artwork and passion for beads from different teachers and influences to create her own style of artwork that is governed by her heart and her culture. Though she began mostly learning and working with powwow regalia and accessories for all dance styles, her passion is striving to create one-of-a-kind pieces of everyday wearable art for cultural representation. Please welcome Alicia. Alicia, I think you're still muted.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very humbled to be here with all these amazing artists here tonight. I'm just blown away to even be included in this. So thank you very much for having me. My name is Alicia. I am from the Monacan Indian Nation of Amherst County. My family is also Choctaw from Mississippi, but I did grow up here in the mountains, Bear Mountain, all the way to my family's from actually Irish Creek in Buena Vista is where my grandparents were from. And I currently reside here in Giles County right now as I'm working at Virginia Tech. And what I have been working really hard on here, actually I just had a fashion show just a couple months ago, is the beadwork that I work with it's not just a part of me, and it doesn't just belong to me, it belongs to everybody. It's here for everybody. And what I strive to work on in my artwork is to help anyone feel that they can be included or have permission to be themselves every single day. A lot of people just think of beadwork as powwow outfits, powwow regalia, but everybody wants to hold on to that person that you are, not just on weekends, every single day. And I enjoy creating one-of-a-kind pieces for people so they can feel like themselves every day. And it's a process that began with me as a child. And I want to share my childhood with you because where it all comes from is when I was young and my family was going to dancing, I wanted, you know, a big, pretty bougie outfit, and my dad was taking us to powwows or traveling all over the country, and you're seeing everybody's outfits. And I'm like, well, what about mine? How do I make it perfect for me? And my dad was like, that's the important part of it, is you're supposed to design it according to who you are, where you come from, and in this process, you will learn how to pass it on to your children. And I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. Da, da, da. So my dad sat down with me and he taught me one style of beadwork, just loom work. It was just somewhere to begin. It was, I think, the only style of beadwork he really knew how to do. And from there, he helped me with my first set of beadwork. I had a mountain design in my beadwork because you're supposed to tell the story of where you're from. And he helped me pick our family colors and what did they meant to our tribe or meant to our people. And you build on this, like you build your designs together layer by layer to tell a story. And not only that, every single person that shares your artwork tells that story. You tell that story to them and you share it with them and inspire them. Can't tell you how many different types of beadwork artists I've seen their work, and I'm just inspired more by what they're doing, and we're all inspiring each other. And then, of course, taking the time to find this in yourself, to be able to turn around and share it. It doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everybody. And at the time, you know, I'm 13 years old. I didn't understand what the point was. And my dad telling me I have to be able to share this and pass it on. But now, as a mother of 4, none of which any of them want to bead at any given day, I've been trying to teach them since I was that young and passionate about it. But by me showing up for myself and my family and sitting down to bead just for a little bit every single day, showing up for my ancestors to say, here I am, I'm here to be a part of you today, or here I am to be a part of myself today, or here I am, I'm trying to show myself for my children today. And every once in a while, and just recently, one of my daughters came into the room and was like, maybe I want to try beading again. Maybe I want to try this again. So I don't see my beadwork as just art. It's belonging, it's waking up, it's being accountable to yourself and showing up for the day and being available for anybody and everybody who wants it. It's not even mine, it's all of ours. And all I can do is share. This connects me to my people, and it connects me to my home. It connects me to my ancestors. My father, I lost him a lot earlier than I would have liked to. It connects me to him, and it creates accessibility to my children. So I am going to share a tiny poem. I can show you my beadwork. I don't have a whole lot of pictures or a presentation, and it's really hard to be able to show it on camera like this. So if you get the chance, you can go take a look at all of my artwork on A Touch of Red on Instagram or on Facebook, but my most recent works, I'll post it on Instagram. I want to further convey how I feel about beadwork being something that belongs to the land and the people and my family. So I'm going to finish up here tonight with just a small poem about becoming who. It's called My Beading Ceremony. It's for myself, but it's for everybody. So please enjoy. As I sit to bead today, I pray. I pray that my ancestors see me. I am here for them today. I stretch my beads and my needles and thread as though I'm getting prepared to limber up and run away from all of the pain I feel today. I dip my fingertips into my beads and I'm digging into the earth. I'm digging into the earth as though I'm searching for the bones of my ancestors. I'm feeling for the tears of my father's depression, and I'm digging to find the roots of my anxiety so I can rip them out, searching for myself. I string them 2 at a time, and it's a dance. I sew them as though to plant them into the earth to help them grow. to help myself grow. And maybe someday for my daughters to find. Maybe they will remember me on a day they choose to dip their fingertips into a bowl full of beads. Thank you for having me, everybody.
Thank you so much, Alicia, for sharing something so deeply personal. That is such a vulnerable moment, and I just really appreciate your heart in sharing that with us. So it seems that our night is coming to an end, and I don't want it to, but I am really, really excited to introduce Charly Lowry. Charly Lowry is a musical powerhouse from Pembroke, North Carolina, and she is proud to be an Indigenous woman belonging to the Lumbee and Tuscarora people. As an ARTivist, she is compassionate as it pertains to raising awareness around issues that plague underdeveloped and underserved communities. Currently spearheading her most recent project, Charly, Lowry's life experiences are guiding her in a music career that is focused upon increasing Indigenous visibility on a global scale, revitalizing and preserving culture, whilst exploring genres of world, soul, country, folk, blues, rock, and roots music. She serves as a voice for her ancestors, as well as the youth of today, and remains committed to music that honors roots, but lives vibrantly in the here and now. I am so excited to introduce our closing artist of the evening, Charly Lowry.
Thank you. Thank you, Callie. Hello, everyone. I'm honored to be a part of this, to be invited along with so many other agents of change, as my friend David Yergin calls us. I'm here at my home in the swamps of Robeson County in southeastern North Carolina, where many of you helped us stop the proposed Atlantic coastal pipeline. And so I just happy to be here with you against this fight. And I want to focus my segment and continue the message of unity and unifying our people and all of our relations. We know that the systems of oppression that we find ourselves fighting have had their time. They had their time and they are now antiquated. Okay, so we've got to use our common sense, which a lot of us know how to do, that are on this Zoom call. And we have to have each other's backs, like we've been saying this whole time, or we are going to self-implode. Okay, we know this, and we resist by unifying. The teachings of all my relations are crucial at this point in time, and as Mara said, the best thing that we can do is see each other through. And so with that, I want to share one of the first songs that I learned on the hand drum from my mentor, Puda Faye, who has been instrumental in guiding me along this path to protect Mother Earth, and to also raise our voices to stand up for Indigenous rights and all of humanity. This song is called the Unity Song. It's called My People, My Land. And she wrote it to unite the tribes of Virginia and North Carolina. And as we end this program, I just want us to remember the message of unity, and that the power, the people have the power. We can't forget that we as people have the power. Regardless of what this country, many of the countries in the world were built upon, the people have the power. My people, my land. you, hey, 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 I'm behind you. Hey, we, hey, 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 ah, da, da, hey, da, he, da, do, oh, oh. Yahweh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Incredible. What a way to end this beautiful, beautiful night together. Thank you, Charly. That was
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you, Callie.
So in closing, you know that we are not going to leave y'all without some actions. We have to continue this fight. I feel ready, and I hope that you do too. So after you've heard all of these uplifting performances, here's what to do next. So stay updated, subscribe to the Power newsletter. We're going to drop the link in the chat. Make sure that you are signed up for that. It will keep you updated on all of future actions. If you're already subscribed, thank you very much. But make sure that you are on the list for the newsletter. Email ARTivism to get on their mailing list. We're also going to drop their email in the chat. Just send them a quick note saying that they want to, that you would like to join their mailing list. And I'm so glad that they have been part of this. This is such a monumental effort to get all of these people here together tonight. So thank you to Power and to ARTivism Virginia for putting us all in the same space and being such a huge gift to our lives. The next thing that you need to do is visit stopmvp.org for more information on the pipeline fight. Keep that as one of your bookmark tabs. Make sure that you're checking it regularly. We're dropping that in the chat as well. And there are 2 opportunities coming up imminently to submit public comments to regulatory agencies about the Mountain Valley Pipeline. One of those is with the U.S. Forest Service, and you have to write your public comment by February 6th. We're dropping that link in the chat. And the second one is with the Army Corps of Engineers, and that has to be in by February 10th. These public comments, let me tell you, they do make a difference. Your voice makes a difference. There is a mandate that these agencies read every single comment. They cannot throw someone's away. They have to read it. And so make sure that you are joining in with everyone else, adding your voice to this fight. If you have not ever done it before, now is the time. And if you don't know how to write a public comment, these organizations and these folks here tonight can help you do that. Get in touch with Power and they will help you to craft your public comment. So with that, folks, thank you for joining us tonight. This has been an absolute joy, and I am so glad that I have been able to be part of it with you and to help us through this evening. And with that, have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I hope that your spirit is renewed.